How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sunday, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. Hello, everybody! It's Monday here on the program. And you know what that means. We got a lot to talk about here today. Well, let's see. We had Rampage on Friday where CM Punk announced that he's injured, but he's not relinquishing the AEW title. We're going to find out who the new interim AEW champion is at Forbidden Door, and thus we'll tell you all about this whole rigmarole. We had Hell in a Cell last night. We had NXT 2.0 in your house on Saturday. We have Raw tonight. And yes, I guess we got to talk about Cody now, don't we? Yes. You know, before the show, Sempervive sent me a message, and he said, how did we manage to get the Sasha story, the MJF story, and now the Cody story? How could we be so lucky? And what I said, my opinion, is that it's not that we got 3 stories that people are reacting like, you know, whatever to. But it's the fact that now we're at a point in life where people react like that to every major story. So this ain't going to end. Cody is just the latest. You know, by the end of this week, something else is going to happen, and everybody's going to have to plant their flag and get all passionate about it. But I'm going to try to talk a little bit about Cody in a way that maybe everybody won't go crazy. Anyway, we'll get going after the break, everybody. Observer Live.
We've almost reached the pinnacle of the tour, but this is one of the most important things. This is the computer. This is the workstation where I do the majority of the actual physical part of putting Figure 4 together. I do the writing here, the editing here, of course the phone calls, even the microphone here when we used to do Wrestling Observer Live, which has since died. And in fact, I better put the screensaver on here so this doesn't get burned into the screen. But putting the newsletter together, people understand, it's a lot of hard work and dedication, like 2 to 3 hours per week sometimes I have to spend on it. And, hold on a second. Figure 4, who's this? Carl Thorillo? Yeah. Yeah, hey, listen, can I call you back? I'm doing something here right now. My fridge? Yes, running. Hello? Anyway, this is, like I said, computer. Got the TV here. This is pretty much the place. This is going to be a quick tour of the trophy room. This is actually my trophy case. It's made of mahogany, very expensive. But what is worth far more than the case itself is what is inside, and that is the medals from the various sports and the accomplishments that I've achieved during my lifetime. This first drawer here is my gymnastics medal. Here, I got state and such. These are my Taekwondo medals. These down here, amateur wrestling medals. And down here are the 26 medals that I won in the 5-kilometer walk down to the Bothell Landing over the course of the past 5 years. And, you know, I realize that I'm a 4-sport superstar right here, and some people, you know, it might bother them that they haven't had such achievements in their life, but I think that the whole point is that you can achieve anything. You know, if you can make a great pie, you can win the pie eating contest at the Puyallup Fair, and I don't know, hell, if you can eat a good pie, you might win the pie eating contest as well. So there's achievement in this life for everybody.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. All right, let's try not to waste too much time on this, okay? We don't have to talk about this all day, everybody. You know that, right? So, Cody suffered a torn pec. It was known Saturday night. Hell in a Cell was Sunday, and WWE announced the news on the pre-show. And there's actually a really funny part of it. So they announced the news on the pre-show, and then later they have the announcers clear up the story and then tell you what the actual story was. It was totally bizarre. They were like, the story is out that Cody was hurt in a brawl with Seth Rollins on Monday and tore his pec. But that's not true. Cody was injured, but then tore his pec. It was weird. It was like, what? But anyway, so Cody tore his pec working out, and they acknowledged that. And then they pushed that he was still going to do the show. And so Cody comes down to the ring, and he's got his jacket on. And you can already see before he even takes his jacket off, like the middle of his chest, it's all purple. So he takes his jacket off, and this bloke's got a torn pec. It's purple and blue all over his chest, down his arm. I mean, it's gruesome. And like for the first 5 minutes of the match, the crowd's almost in stunned silence. They're like, oh my God, how is this guy doing this and why? And he does the match, and about 10 minutes in, the fans start to realize, his arm hasn't fallen off yet, and they haven't stopped the match. I feel I can safely get into this now. And so they got into it. And, by the end, I mean, torn pec or no torn pec, they had a great match. And when you add the torn pec story to it, I mean, it was just, I think the word Dave used was compelling, and bro, was it ever. And this guy, he won, and crowd goes nuts for him, and he's kissing the mat, and he's crying, and he's thanking the fans, and this dude just comes off as like the biggest babyface in the history of mankind. And, we talk about it on the show and everything like that, and then the blowback started. I turned the show off as soon as I heard one good thing about you guys said about Cody. We can't be glorifying and this is the big one. He shouldn't have been in there. Okay, listen. As a fan and as a guy who likes Cody, I was grimacing the entire time. I was so worried about this guy. And obviously, I did not think that he should have been in the ring with that torn pec, okay? But, as I noted yesterday, they have doctors in WWE. And no matter what you want to say, these doctors aren't jokes, okay? These doctors, if they feel that it is a danger for you to get into the ring, they will not let you in the ring. They will not clear you. There was that incident where Bryan Danielson got injured in a match with Triple H, and they stopped the match, and Bryan Danielson was furious. He was so mad, he almost fought Triple H after the match. But they stopped the match. They wouldn't let him do the match. They have retired people. They have permanently retired people, and I put that in quotes because some of them, like Paige, are still permanently retired. Others, like Edge and Daniel Bryan, were permanently retired, but then, they ended up being not retired. And, if you follow the Bryan Danielson story, I mean, the WWE doctor was the last guy. He was the last holdout. Bryan Danielson had gone to multiple doctors who were like, bro, you can do this again. You don't need to be permanently retired. And it was the WWE doctor that was the final holdout before he was finally allowed to come back into the ring. Okay? Now, I realize that we live in an age where there is an internet. Okay? And this accelerated during COVID. Everybody decided that they were a doctor, okay? But you know what? Most of you aren't doctors, all right? And the doctor in WWE decided that it was okay for Cody to go out there and do that match. Now, there's another doctor. I've actually got his name. And you can go up and watch his video on YouTube. His name is, and of course, it's not right here, but I'm going to get it in just a moment. His name is
Dr. Nick.
Bryan Sutterer, okay?
Hi.
And he does this for a living. And he did a 5-minute video where he talked about the injury that Cody suffered and the risks of going out there. And it's funny because this video is it's out there, and I've already seen people cherry picking what they want to hear in his video because he actually was very balanced about it. But when you're balanced, then what happens is people can cherry pick which side they want to go with. Okay, and what he said was the pec was torn off the bone, and you can't tear it anymore off the bone. It's not like he's going to go in there and do any more damage to the pec, okay? He did say that, yes, obviously when you have an injury like that, you can overcompensate with other parts of your body and suffer another injury. That can happen. But his conclusion at the end was that it was probably very painful for Cody. But anybody who is saying that, like, a doctor would be negligent to allow Cody to go into the ring, he does not feel that it was negligent to allow Cody to go back into the ring. So, at the end of the day, like, dude, I don't think he should have been in the ring either, okay? But the doctor in WWE and another doctor here both believed it was not negligent to allow Cody Rhodes to go into the ring. So, I don't even know what we're arguing about. It doesn't matter what your non-medical gut tells you, okay? The doctor believed that Cody could go into the ring and do this match. And then, other people were like, oh, well, this never happens in real sports. And then, people pointed out that actually it does happen in real sports, and here are a bunch of examples. But, bro, that's not even a fair comparison because wrestling isn't a real sport. Like, the whole point of wrestling is to go in there and protect your opponent. That's the point. So Cody wasn't going into a real sporting event where Seth Rollins didn't care one way or the other whether his pec is torn. He's going to beat the crap out of him. Or in MMA, he's going to target an injury. They went in there with the idea to protect Cody Rhodes. That's the whole point of pro wrestling. So you can't even make a comparison. Well, the Super Bowl this year, this guy had a torn pec and he played. That's the Super Bowl. It's real. So anyway, I understand. I think that he shouldn't have been in there. But at the end of the day, the doctor felt it was okay. Another doctor felt it was okay. So I don't even know why this is like a big argument about the safety and negligence and everything like that. The actual medical professionals said it wasn't negligent to let him go in there. Right?
Yeah. Well, the visceral reaction to that, to how it looked, especially for a lot of people who are not into sports, saw that and go, that's a torn pec. We're being told it's for real, a torn pec. It looks like that. How in the world can this person go out there? Because you can, and it's not. And again, look, a lot of people immediately, it's toxic masculinity, it's meatheadedness, it's dumb jockness. It's like, no, it's actually not. If this person could go and perform, and the person he's working with felt comfortable, and a doctor said, "Look, the only thing you can do is if you can gut through it, go ahead." And I'm used to that from the NFL and the NHL, so. There's a whole lot of things that could be true. Should WWE, can you have the opinion that maybe they should have not let him go in there at all? Yes. There's a lot of what ifs, and there's a lot of things that are frankly true about this, including the fact that he was cleared by a doctor and he was able to go out there and perform. And you don't know what Cody and WWE talked about as far as paying for the surgery and all that stuff. So I know we're going to break. We'll be back.
Back in a moment. Observer Live.
Here we have the meditation room. This is a room where I send Vince when he misbehaves, when he cooks my chicken, when it's undercooked, or whatever the problem is. It's only got 2 things in this entire room, completely empty, save for a chair right here, which you'll notice is made of videotapes. Unfortunately, there's so many tapes in this house that I have no room for furniture, so I did the next best thing, which is make a chair out of tapes. And he comes in here and he sits down and he reads. And I only allow Vince to read 1 book because I realize that what you read and what you believe is what you become. And that is The Law of Success in 16 Lessons by Napoleon Hill. This book was written in 1928. This book is over 70 years old. But the important thing is the message is just as vital today. And while Vince will probably remain a lackey the rest of his life, it's good that he reads this and learns of the basically the 16 laws which helped me become the success that I am today. And if you ever get a chance to pick up this book, it is amazing. As you can see, night has fallen, and we've pretty much worked and toiled all day long. And, you know, one of the secrets to my success, and I've mentioned this many times today, many different secrets, but one of them is more time for recreation and just hanging out and doing whatever. And so we're going to be taking a trip down to the recreational facilities where the pool and the basketball court, basically everything else is stationed. And recreation is also one of the ways that Vince and I managed to keep our bodies in, well, one of the ways that I managed to keep my body in such superb shape. So that's the next stop, is the recreational area. Here we are in the workout area. Everything a person would need to get in perfect physical shape. Got the, you know, the bench press machine right here. Have the leg press machine right there. We've got the, what the hell is that? Got the lat pull down machine right here. And I suppose since we're here, we might as well work out and do the, can you do 210, Vince? I could move it up to 110 or maybe 2, okay, go. Let's go. Pretty good. Is it 8? 7. Okay. Let's go play basketball.
The show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Well, thankfully, we got another injury to talk about.
What's that?
Maybe thankfully is not the right word.
Well, yeah, that's a little dark.
CM Punk has broken things.
What? Excuse me? Fangs? He broke some things.
He broke some things. That's what we know for sure. It is believed that it's a broken foot, okay? But one way or the other, things are broken. And so...
well, he had some multiple. Did he break, like,
he said
a foot
things.
and some toes?
Bro, do you know what a foot is? There's a bunch of bones in there. If you break 3 little bones in your foot, they still say you have a broken foot. He said things. So probably he broke a few bones in his foot, would be my guess.
Fine. You deserve that. For
now
that
you're
little
now you're trying to kill me.
You got all choked up there. Hey, if you keep this up, we'll go back to talking about Cody.
Don't threaten me. So he came out on Rampage, and he announced that that he broke some things, and that he had offered to relinquish the AEW title, but Tony Khan told him no. And so this is what is going to happen. CM Punk is going to take time off to heal his things. And in the meantime, this coming Wednesday, there's going to be a battle royal on Dynamite. We don't know how many people. We don't know anything about it. There will be some people in a battle royal, okay? Whichever person wins will be having a match with Jon Moxley in the main event of Dynamite on Wednesday. That man is going to go to Forbidden Door and face the winner of Hiroshi Tanahashi and Hiroki Goto for the interim AEW championship. Okay? Now, what are they going to do? I got no idea. What would I do? What do I think would be awesome? I think it would be awesome. So funny.
Say Goto. Say Goto.
No.
Say Goto and Luther. Say it.
I think it would be awesome if Jon Moxley faced Hiroshi Tanahashi and Hiroshi Tanahashi beat him and became the AEW champion. Now,
hallelujah.
Let me give you my mindset here, okay? So, clearly the match they wanted to do was CM Punk against Hiroshi Tanahashi, okay? Which actually was a match that I had suggested before they announced it. Because it has to be like a big New Japan name, but it also has to be a big New Japan name that they don't mind beating that guy. They don't mind that guy losing in an AEW title match. And Tanahashi's perfect, okay? But before they announced this, the match that they have been building forever, that everybody wants to see, is Jon Moxley and Hiroshi Tanahashi. But they didn't do that on this show. And I was thinking, why? And the answer may simply be that they wanted to do Punk versus Tanahashi and whatever. But, there was also that thought that, maybe New Japan, when they want to do Tanahashi versus Moxley, but they want it to be on a New Japan show, and they want Tanahashi to win. So maybe that's why it's not happening on Forbidden Door. Maybe... So anyway, I don't know if any of this is true. All I know is that originally it was going to be CM Punk defending the AEW title against Hiroshi Tanahashi. Now, obviously, the monkey wrench of broken things was thrown into the plan. So why not just have Tanahashi win the AEW title? And then 2 or 3 months from now, when CM Punk is good to go, you do the match that you were planning to do the entire time, which was Punk versus Tanahashi, which presumably Punk was going to win, and Punk beats Tanahashi, and he unifies the AEW and interim titles, and then away you go. Everything is exactly how you had it planned in June. You're just doing it in August instead. So that's what I'd do. But I'm not Tony Khan. If you've ever seen one of my press conferences. So, we'll see what he ends up doing.
And there's going to be an education process which would need to happen if you went in that direction, and I actually like that direction. Because it adds, from a pro wrestling point of view, and Tony Khan's a big pro wrestling fan, you see how he modeled those Owen Hart belts after the Stampede belts, and he's a big belt mark, and that stuff means something to him. The fact that you can add to your lineage by having, again, one of, even though there's some people out there who don't know him, one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, certainly one of the best baby faces of all time, Hiroshi Tanahashi, who can still perform at a highly entertaining level and still have really good matches every once in a while. He can't do it on a regular basis. But the fact that you can have that, I think, is a great idea. Now, obviously, he's not going to be able to, he can emote on, as far as getting over on American TV, because of the way he wrestles, because of his personality, because of his style, his flash. He's brothers in the Three Musketeers with Shibata and Shinsuke Nakamura, and you saw how Nakamura got over here. Tanahashi, once people see him and take to him, I don't think there's going to be a problem with the American fan base, but there is going to be a little bit of education that has to go on, and this gives you a chance because you don't have a guy who's going to be cutting promos and taking up that time, per se, when it comes to, time on the show. It gives other people a chance to speak, and it gives you a chance to do some things with some other people, and that's what this Battle Royal could possibly do, is lead to some new ideas and lead to some things that you can do coming out of this thing. And we don't know who's in it. We don't know how many people are in it, but one would assume the entire top 10, and then I guess a group, of 10 extra people that you would have in there, because I assume it's not going to be everybody in like 2 rings or something like that. It doesn't make any sense. It cheapens it. So only have your best people out there, including Wardlow, who maybe gets screwed over by an Ethan Page or a Scorpio Sky, which leads to him going after Sky for the TNT title, which he has alluded to in an interview. Again, that's fantasy booking, but there's a lot of things that could come out of this. Bottom line is, Tanahashi as a choice for champion, I'm all for it.
Also want to mention that there was a story in Business Insider by Claire Atkinson. And this from PW Insider because the actual article was behind a paywall. And yes, I pay for PW Insider, but not Business Insider. In the piece, it was noted that Stephanie McMahon's leave of absence, which was publicly described as McMahon taking a break to tend to her family, was actually, quote, executed by her father, Vince McMahon, the organization's 76-year-old CEO. The article noted responsibilities that fell under Stephanie's umbrella included marketing, brand business, and creative services, along with community and entertainment relations. Company announced a new executive vice president, head of marketing today. Catherine Newman, noting her responsibilities will include marketing, brand, community relations, entertainment relations, creative services, and photography, much of the same responsibilities McMahon had. Article noted, while Stephanie had described the potential of WWE's growth in sponsorship and marketing as having the potential to be in the, quote, hundreds of millions of dollars range, that wasn't happening under McMahon. Atkinson, citing a company source, reported, "We are seeing that growth," said the company insider of Stephanie's tenure. "When someone is moved out of a company, it is usually the result of something not working. We took stronger control of that a few months ago." Now, the way this is phrased, it sounds like Vince fired Stephanie McMahon, but I don't believe that happened. And I think Dave's going to have more on that here in a little while. But I can tell you what is undoubtedly true, okay? So Stephanie stepped away from her duties, all right? And it had been a long time coming. She had talked to people about stepping away from her duties, dating back to when Triple H had his heart issue. So this was coming for a while, okay? But the day that it happened, it was made very clear. She is stepping away. She's going to spend time with her family. She will be back. And in the meantime, her duties will be split amongst different people. Different people will be taking on a little bit extra, but we're going to spread it out amongst a bunch of people. All right, that's fine. Well, then, a little while later, a week or two, all of a sudden, like, they were hiring people for her role. That's when I first got a red flag. Like, you're hiring people to take on what Stephanie used to do. And then, in fact, as we talked about on some of the shows in Vegas, WWE all of a sudden, for some reason, did a 180, and they wanted word out that Stephanie was not very good at her job. Now, what happened? Why? I have no idea. But clearly, the folks that wanted the word out that Stephanie was not good at her job contacted Claire Atkinson here of Business Insider, and they, in fact, got the story out as well. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if Stephanie will ever be back. But something happened and something changed. And that's the latest as of right now.
Do you know if Catherine is one of Victor's daughters from Genoa City?
Who?
Don't worry about that. Look, this place is now getting much, much bigger, and I know we, especially old people like us, we've always had a McMahon family, whether it be Vince Sr. giving the company to Vince Jr., and then seeing Shane and Stephanie come into it. Linda, became a featured person, but we see where Nick Khan has taken this company, and we see some of the moves that they've made that, when they went with the network idea, then when they got rid of the people that started the network and went in the direction that they're going in now, you see the deals that Khan has landed, and it's like maybe this thing is actually now at a level where, it's now out of their hands. It's time they maybe do something else for everybody, and this is the way evolution happens in business.
Back in a moment, Observer Live.
Here we are in the basketball room where we play lots of simple basketball games such as horse. Usually, if we get 12 friends together, or however many on the scene, we play a game. But today, it's horse. Thanks, God. And you're going to get to go first because I am a kind, giving boss. Or we can play ass. Play a game of one-on-one instead. Aside from the obvious the recreational facilities that we have here, I also like to use some of the facilities for my work. As many of you know, part of my job requires me to watch tapes from around the world. Mexico, Japan, different wrestling from different parts of the world, and write about it and review it. So therefore I've created this here, the media room. Got the projector, we got the big screen right here, and aside from using it for work, I also use it because young Vince here, as some of you might know, is an aspiring pro wrestler, and he's had a few matches under his belt. And as a grizzled veteran of the ring wars that I am, I like to come in here, watch the matches with Vince, give him pointers, critique him, help him out, and basically show him what he's doing right and what he can do to improve on. So we are going to watch, as a treat to you, this is a Super Chico tape, one of Vince's matches. So we'll get that thing ready to roll here. What are you doing?
Well, we did have some shows this weekend, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
All right, so if you've not seen it yet, watch the Young Bucks versus Penton Phoenix match on Rampage. That match was better than anything on the pay-per-view. It was so unbelievably awesome. So that was Friday. You can skip SmackDown. I give you permission. But if you want to hear the report, Tom and I are going to do the report on that, as well as New Japan Strong, coming up in 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 Eastern, video.f4wonline.com. And
you guys got to talk a little GCW Tournament of Survival, too?
No, WrestlingObserver.com as well. Well, we didn't see it. What do you want me to do?
Well, was he wrestling for Black Label this weekend?
I have no idea what he was doing.
You should ask him that.
I was in quarantine.
Know his man's schedule. It's your partner.
We also had the NXT 2.0 show. And very quickly, we had the family, Tony D'Angelo's crew. They beat Legado del Fantasma. So now Legado del Fantasma will be gangsters, I guess. Match was pretty good. All things considered, it was a pretty good match. I liked it. Toxic Attraction versus Katana Chance and Caden Carter. Not good. This was not a good match. In fact, it was pretty bad. Although I thought Caden Carter looked good. And Katana Chance, come on, we know her name. But anyway, she's improved, and they were pretty good. But Toxic Attraction retained the tag team titles because, we got to, if you keep trying, eventually those 18 to 49-year-old males are going to tune in to see these women with almost no clothes on. We just got to keep trying. Yeah. Carmelo Hayes beat Cameron Grimes to win the NXT North American title. It was a good match. This was a good match, as you would expect. Mandy Rose beat Wendy Chu, of course, to retain the NXT Women's title. And this was not good. It was pretty bad. The Creed brothers beat Pretty Deadly. I like this match. Because you know what? I like these Creeds. Watching the Creed brothers is like watching UFC 1. A styles clash. You're afraid, maybe someone could be killed, but thankfully no one does get killed. And you just never know what's going to happen with these guys. They're just they're like two 1997 Goldbergs, just out there running rampant. And these good workers are trying to carry them, and they sort of can. I thought this was a fun match, and the Creeds won, and they won the NXT Tag Team titles in front of their parents. I like this. This was good stuff.
Do you remember the old Johnny Valentine line? A lot of people have used it, where it's like, I can't make you believe that wrestling is real, but I can damn you sure make you believe that I'm real. Like, there is almost nothing NXT 2.0 can do to make me convinced that any of it is real and not just one big hallucinatory cartoon. But the Creeds, you'll never make me believe that they're not real. They are amazing puppies with big paws, as JR would always say. They are amazing athletes, and they are as close to one could come to actually what it was like being thrown around by the Steiners, watching somebody do that. That's exactly what they are doing right now.
And we had Braun Breaker versus Joe Gacy, and they got to get this Braun Breaker away from Joe Gacy like as soon as humanly possible.
Like
I'm going to be losing money at this rate. My
Holy
God.
smokes.
This has taken this guy from like the hottest prospect in all of WWE to some bloke having average matches on pay-per-view. It's the worst. So the story was he could lose the title via DQ, so they teased that a couple of times, but he didn't, and he won. Can we move on now? That's my review of NXT 2.0 in your house.
And it was so bad because nobody believed that. Every time it was, he would kick out at 2, and then they would show a close-up of Braun Breaker, and it's like, he can't lose it. Like, okay, and then they did a bit with a chair about 75 million times. The referee takes it away in slow motion, turns his back to walk away to put. It's like, can you at least try? If you're gonna like do this, at least try. And the guys tried. I mean, Joe Gacy he's fine. It's just the gimmick is death, and this feud has been death, and it hasn't helped Braun Breaker, and it sucks, and I wish it was over. Please.
This person here saying Brian's going to lose his bet because of Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy is going to cost me more money than MJF.
No, he's not.
With his MJF coin.
No, he's not. Look, once he breaks away from him, once anything happens with NXT, once he goes up to the main roster, that's really, at the end of the day, the bottom line, because there's only so much damage they can do for him in NXT as far as his whole career, which wasn't that what whole thing was about? They'll ruin this guy. They'll ruin his WWE career.
All right. He's not ruined everybody. He's just in the middle of an absolutely boring, nothing happening generic feud with a guy he needs to get away from. But no one's watching it going, oh, this Braun sucks now.
Well, to be
Everyone's
fair,
saying, can he get a new opponent?
It does get him ready for the main roster.
It sure does. Speaking of the main roster, Money in the Bank, Bianca beat Asuka and Becky in a 3-way.
It was awesome.
Which was an excellent match, which of course led to, somebody having to go out of their way to start a thread on our board asking why poor Asuka is just being buried all the time.
God, it's like the people who are anti-Bianca that like crawled out of holes on Twitter last night. Just beat these people in the head with a shovel, put them back in there, and make sure you pad it up and they can't get back out again. People are out of their minds. Like, if you want to say that Serena Deeb is a better technical wrestler, absolutely. You want to say that Asuka is underused and a person that, because of her experience and her style, is a far more valuable prospect if everything were to fall apart than somebody the age of Bianca Belair. But look, bottom line is, she is the biggest thing in women's wrestling outside of Japan, bar none. For her to have picked up what she's picked up so far, to be the athlete she is, to see how she comes across, and to see like all those things that don't matter in the ring, like marketing potential and a spokesperson for the company and a role model and an influencer and all that sort of stuff, like, man, she is it. So I don't know why there are people that maybe they're just trying to be contrarian.
Well, you know, I
maybe
do
it's
remember
for other reasons.
I do remember when I was a wrestler and Tim Flowers would say, hey, you know what? You're going to headline the Temple Theater with me in a singles match for the ICW Championship. But I'm going to beat you. And I say to him, no. I don't want to headline in a championship match. I don't want to headline the Temple Theater in a title match if I'm going to lose. I'd rather work Mr. Sexy in the second match on the card so that I could win.
Get out of there early? No, the hell not.
Bobby Lashley beat Omos and MVP. And then he paraded around with the belt, so...
What do you think about MVP's rhymes?
Oh, dude, it was awesome. MVP's rap was, like, multiples better than anything on Raw last week, anything on SmackDown, and this match. Kevin Owens beat Ezekiel. Just pinned him clean in the middle. We have not had the cameo by Elias yet. And, you know, after this match, it's like, why is this feud continuing to get to that? But I guess we'll see if they had any foresight whatsoever to tape one guitar shot before they cut the guy's hair and shaved his beard.
I absolutely hope so. And much like when it comes to any time talking about Kevin Owens, there's always something that you don't see, and you got to go back online to see. He does, I guess, the talking smack or whatever the post show is called afterwards, and he talks about knowing back in the day when Rikishi became the Sultan and knowing that that's who that was. It's a small, dumb thing, but that's what's making this feud great for me is Kevin Owens being a one-man show when it comes to having a field day with this stuff. It's great.
We had the Judgment Day beating AJ, Finn Balor, and Liv Morgan. Like this match. Good match. Everybody worked hard. They got 16 minutes, and Edge got the win. I don't know where any of this leads, but that's what happened, so I liked it. Madcap Moss, Happy Corbin. So we had an issue that played out in the main event, which was that they had a Falls Count Anywhere match, and WWE decided to go old school. Well, we're using a table in the main event, so we can't use one earlier in the show. But it's a no-holds-barred match. So the fans, for how long did this match go? 12-minute match. It was 12:05. So for 12 minutes and 4 seconds, the fans chanted for tables, and they didn't get tables. And so finally, in the main event, when heel Seth Rollins, who's wrestling, you know, Cody Rhodes with his arm dangling from his side, Seth Rollins grabs a table, and the fans have been waiting so long that they pop and they start thanking Seth Rollins for getting a table. Like, I know there's rules and everything, but bro, you should just give these guys tables. It doesn't matter. It would have made things much better in the main event for people not cheering Seth Rollins. But anyway, they had a hardcore match, and then Madcap Pillmanized his neck with the steps and a chair, won, and yeah, he's got a new look and everything, but he's still Madcap.
That blows. It absolutely stinks. Riddick Moss is a gimmick name anyway, but it sounds like a wrestler. Look at the guy and you go, that guy's name is Riddick Moss. You go, look at him, you go, I believe that name. It fits who he is.
Not just that, dude, but they're all into just one name. Bro, just call him Riddick.
Riddick.
That's actually cool.
His
last name is like, you know, something green that grows on a tree. You can get rid of that part. Just call him Riddick. He comes out there all jacked up, you know, like me, huh? And he beats on people, doesn't tell stupid jokes, and they call him Riddick. You can just even hear Vince saying it. Riddick.
Yeah, Riddick.
He should have chose Riddick instead of Theory. Because, man, Theory had the most vanilla, nothing happening.
Bro, maybe Riddick down the line can kill Theory, and look, and it's nothing against Austin Theory because he's insanely talented, but he's been positioned as a geek that he's not getting over, and the specter of him defeating John Cena down the line bothers me. And Riddick Moss has been, I'm not saying he's been ready for a long time. He's one of those guys, came from the NFL, went there. That's all he knows. But the guy has been a physical wonder. We've talked about how underused he's been for a long time. Now's the time.
Oh,
Try
man.
not to screw it up.
Our Twitch chat, sometimes they're dumb, but sometimes they got such great ideas. Like, you know, if Riddick came out with, like, you know, antlers, like, you know, House of Black, and they called him Riddick Moose. I think his finish could be the ridiculous. There's a lot of good ones here. All better than Madcap.
It's too bad that Happy Corbin has blocked you, because he could take some of this stuff and actually apply it to him still telling jokes, I guess, to Riddick if he gets out of traction with his neck and whatnot. Let's see how long it takes for him to sell this. Back in a week with nothing happening?
So, yeah, Ali comes out. They say Chicago's own Ali. Oh, here's his wife, children, friends. And then he got beat. Of course he did. And then Cody Rhodes beat Seth Rollins in the main event. Yes, if you didn't know, by the way, if you've been listening to the show, Cody won. He hit him with a sledgehammer, and he pinned him 3-0 against Seth Rollins, even with a torn pec. So they got plans, clearly,
you know what it's time for
this guy's big return and eventual WWE title win.
Come back at the Royal Rumble. It'll take 4 to 6 months anyway. That's about when it goes. Royal Rumble would be perfect for something like that, especially if you don't have The Rock. But even then, you got multiple nights. Perfect time to bring Cody back then. When it comes to, like, the short term, though, like, now you got to figure some stuff out, like, quickly, including...
Bro, they don't need to figure anything out. They got no plans.
No, wait, hold on. How you plan on rebuilding Seth Rollins? Because I am interested now. He loses to Cody 3 times in a row, did all the mind games. They all failed. He's there with his banged up. He loses to a guy with an arm falling off and a pec falling off. What do you got next for Seth here?
Bro, I love you, but dude, it's WWE. It doesn't make a bit of difference that he lost 3 straight matches to Cody. He's going to come out here. He's going to do his stupid laugh. He's going to do his goofy dance. He's going to cut a promo, and everyone's going to forget all about it and move on to whatever his goofy feud is. We've seen this a million times.
Eternal sunshine of the spotless mind, WWE fan.
I can't think of one WWE person that's pushed as a main eventer where anything happens to them and all of a sudden the fans don't see them as a star anymore. This audience, they're told he's a star, so he is.
Hey,
and they're like, yes!
They have about 2 million really passionate people, and that's good for them.
And so do we. Back in a moment, Observer Live.
Okay, Vince, the bells rang. I don't know if you're wrestling, some plan. Okay, first off, your lockup. Your right arm is going way out here, okay? Why would you do that for real? Your arm goes behind the dude's head. This has to be like it's real, okay? Backing off like this, it looks phony, okay? Everything you do needs to look real. I know it's hard with this dude right here with the no hair, whatever the hell, this multicolored, whatever. Okay, that looks a little bit better, but again, you're pushing it back there and you just stand right there. Don't ever throw a forearm again. You understand? Look at those, horrible. And first off, half the crowd is chanting that it's phony. And the best part is, the guy that is filming is burying you. The filmer! The dude who's filming has never taken a bump in his life and he's here making fun of you. That was alright. When you take a bump, dude, have you ever seen me take a bump? The legs go up in the air, you hit out to the side. Look at you right here. Look at that. You got your neck up like this and your legs are all bent. Hit the mat, dude. He lifts you up there, you're going up with him. Okay? You're just standing there. Okay? That was decent. Oh my god. Oh my god. Dude, you have to jump. Did you guys work this out at all beforehand? Dude, don't even tell me that this is the finish. If he does a people's elbow and pins you, this clown, is this your first match? Look at that, even the guy that's filming is laughing at you. Even the guy that's filming. You just got pinned by... Dude, hey, I'm just trying to help.
Hello.
How long did you test positive for?
It was at least 5 days.
I'm still positive today.
Yeah. How long's it been for you now?
5, I think.
Oh, hopefully
It's 5 days.
Hopefully that's it. Is everybody else in the house?
Dude, I know
Okay.
someone who tested positive for 2 months afterwards.
Oh God, the long COVID.
Well, no, they just tested positive. But
Oh.
they just they got over it, but they kept testing positive for 2 months.
Jesus,
So,
sucks.
get out of here. These
Me?
nerds on the chat.
Oh, those.
I'm talking about herpes, you geek. I'm talking about COVID.
Well,
Hey, Cody's going to be on the show tonight.
he doesn't have gonorrhea, does he?
What? Cody's going to be talking about his torn pec.
Torn
And
pec,
what's
that's what
next?
it was. I forgot what it was.
But we
It's been
do
a long
know that
show.
he will be undergoing surgery for said torn pec on
Aye.
Thursday. That's when it's going to be happening.
And they will film all that for the network.
Oh,
Every
man, they're going to have a
single last bit
documentary
of it.
someday, brother. Let me tell you.
Dude, it's iconic. That will be there forever. Much like his neck tattoo. That bruise will live in either infamy or whatever you want to call it.
We're out of time, everybody. Got to wrap it up. In an hour, myself and Filthy Tom will be talking all this fun stuff. That'll be at 2 Pacific, 5 Eastern, video.f4wonline.com, audio, wrestlingobserver.com. Check that out later on. And that's it, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again after a while.